Once, my uncle told me a time he and his friends played with a Ouija board at a friend's house. There were 5 of them, including my uncle. Mind you, this was during the 80s when he was a teenager. One of his friends brought a Ouija board over and, skeptical, they went downstairs into the basement to play it. The basement walls had mirrors lined on both sides. None of them believed in the paranormal, so they were taking it pretty lightly. They turn off the light, asking stupid questions like, "What color of underwear am I wearing? What time is it where you are?" And the likes. After a good 30 minutes or so, they started to get bored since there were no answers coming through. My uncle was about to remove his hand and go back upstairs until one of his friends asked, "Is heaven and hell real? Have you seen God?" jokingly. He then recalls hearing some sort of static, and the planchette begins to move, and at this point everybody starts flipping out and laughing nervously. The planchette begins moving on random numbers. My uncle doesn't recall what those numbers were, but he remembers there were a lot of zeros. The planchette was jerking really fast, and everybody was confused as the person next to them because they knew there was no way someone in the group was moving the planchette so fast and randomly. "Guys, stop! Guys, stop!" one of the friends yelled. Everyone took their hands off, and the planchette stopped for a brief moment and glided over to the letter Z. Everyone was frozen and didn't really know what to do. My uncle said he had so much adrenaline that he freaked out and yelled, "Whoever you are, I'm not scared of you." Suddenly, there was a loud bang in the wall behind him, and the light began to flicker like crazy. He turned his attention to the mirrors on the walls and saw what looked like a really large, mangled dog with a huge mouth and burning red eyes in one of the mirrors for what he said was like a split second. It was clear as day, and it struck so much fear into my uncle that he developed a really bad fear of big dogs when he used to love them as a kid. He screamed, and everybody ran like hell up the stairs. There was a loud crash, and my uncle closed the basement door and locked it as soon as everyone was out. The next morning, his parents inspected, and one of the mirrors was smashed but still intact, and the light bulb had exploded. His friend's parents were pissed, especially when they found the board. He never told his friends what he saw down there until they were out of college. My uncle doesn't scare easily, even when he was young. He always tried to be the guy with the biggest balls. The macho alpha, he would call it. Even today, he has this look on his face every time he tells the story. It's really unlike my uncle to get so serious when he's usually a pretty laid-back, humorous guy. I swear to God, this all is 100% true. My friend lived in a really old, super creepy house, and she had an older sister who was into Ouija. Being the young, impressionable girls we were, we naturally borrowed the board from her closet one night and set it up in the basement. We were 11 and desperately wanted to be older than we were. So we start playing and something immediately comes through. It answers questions for us, but is giving us a really weird vibe. We didn't Google it, read the rules before we were asking questions that we should not have been. We were all talking, and likely not being as respectful as we should have. Just to set the scene, her basement was creepy as shit. It was built before fire codes existed, and the basement didn't have a window. It was small, damp, dark, and scary to begin with. We were all hearing things move behind us. It felt like we were in a room full of people, even though there were only the three of us. I remember we all had one finger on the planchette, and genuinely, we were all terrified. There was no way we could have moved it. We actually tried to move it after, and it didn't work. Anyway, we asked how the spirit, a male, died. He said fire, and I shit you not, her ancient wood fireplace started flaming. I repeat, her fireplace that requires you to physically start the flame just started burning. We did not close the board and made many mistakes after that. Something definitely followed us for a long, long time. The last year or so, it finally left us. Creepily enough, we used to have the same reoccurring nightmare that had the same demon guy in it. So, I've always been somewhat keen to the supernatural. I definitely opened up a door when I was 18 and used a Ouija board. We were all in the backyard of my friend's house. There was about 5 of us, and one of our friends had a glow-in-the-dark board. I was terrified but intrigued. My mother was extremely religious and always forbid me to use one. So we sat there for a few minutes, asking stupid questions and not really getting any answers. But it was a couple minutes later I could feel it. Something was there. My hands started to shake like crazy, and of course my friends started to make fun of me. But they didn't know what was going on. I started to hear deep males breathing in my ear. I tried to tell my friend Megan, who was sitting next to me, but she was not close enough, nor was she breathing that hard. In my head, I just said, "Go away, go away, go away." And eventually it did. I can't explain it to this day. It was weird because as it was happening, I didn't tell anyone. I was just sitting there freaking out. As we were all heading back home, I begged my friend Megan to sleep over because I knew whatever breathed into my ear was going to follow me back. I asked Megan if she heard a male's breathing, and she was like, "WTF? No," and basically thought I was making it up. For the next month, I kid you not, my house was haunted. I could not sleep without the lights and music in my ears. I would hear footsteps every night outside my door and would periodically wake up at 3 a.m. After a month passed, my mother sat me down. "Ashley, what the hell is going on?" I did not tell her about using the board because I knew she would be furious. Nothing, Mom. Nothing at all." "Ashley, you tell me what's going on. For the last month, I've been hearing footsteps, and last night, something scratched my foot." I just looked at her dumbfounded, because I thought this was only affecting me. I basically broke down crying and told her everything. Together, we staged the house and said prayers. And it's amazing how different the house felt. It felt lighter and pleasant again. Since then, I've been predominantly more aware of ghosts. They usually come to me in my dreams, though. If you ever wondered if Ouija boards work, they do. It might not seem like it's working, but you're literally opening a door. And they won't necessarily make themselves known on the board. And it turned out some guy had killed himself at the house where we used the board. Hi, my little calaveras. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. Hello, my name is Jinx, and welcome to my channel, Jinx Calavera. If you like no sleep, creepypastas, and stories of that variety, don't forget to subscribe. Also, I would love to know, what are your favorite types of stories? Are you into dark web? Are you into cryptids? What type of stories do you like to hear? I actually do have some original pieces that I'm going to be releasing later. If you're a writer and are interested in possibly having your stories, you can always submit your stories to my Gmail. It's listed in the description along with some of my other socials. I'm so excited to start sharing some of my stories and hopefully some of yours as well. Well, I better get going before I start rambling. Remember, my little calaveras, don't let anyone or anything steal your light. Check under your bed at night. And until next time, bye.